All right, fire away.
Dan had complimented you on the game plan and some of the, I guess, things you implemented in there to take advantage of what Minnesota does. What did you like about, I guess, what you put in there and particularly how those guys executed it?
Listen, it was a unique scheme, and they've been a tough nut to crack all year long, and so our guys were very detailed with the week of preparation that carried over to the game, and then really it's happened a few times where you can just kind of tell in pregame the demeanor, the mindset, the intensity. You kind of knew that they were going to come out and play really well. So it's hard to do every week. Some weeks are different than others, but you kind of just had this feeling just watching them warm up that they were going to come out and play really hard, which is a big part of the battle anyways. But no, those guys did a great job. I started with Jared. We loaded him up, and he handled it really well. And then it trickles down to the skill guys. The attention to detail was excellent. And then we knew up front they were going to generate a lot of one-on-ones, and our big guys rose to that challenge, and our backs too. They were singled up in pass protection more last week than they have been all season, and they did a great job.
Three drives, 13 plays or longer, 3 touchdown drives. I don't know, how much did you think that might have been the way it was going to go down, that you were going to have to nickel and dime your way down the field, and how difficult?
Yeah, truthfully, I didn't really foresee that to be the case. The one thing that we've been consistently good at all year, week in and week out, is generating explosive plays. And last week we were probably at our lowest on the season. And so that's not necessarily how we want the games to be played. The explosives help to erase some little mistakes that we have. When we do play games like that in extended drives, we need to be on our details, which we were, and excellent on third down, which at parts of the game we really were. And then we had some big fourth down conversions as well. So the margin for error goes down a little bit when you're not quite as explosive. So it's not necessarily where we want to live, but our guys did a nice job. Really, I'd say through 3 quarters, that last quarter fell off just a little bit. And there's a number of reasons for that, but we could have ended that game a little bit cleaner than what we did.
Go ahead if you can. Can that be a blessing in disguise, though? Those, how many long drives you guys had? Kind of seemed like they were, excuse me, pretty gassed at the end of the game, the Vikings defense.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think there's always something to be said when you have the time of possession in your favor and you're keeping their defense off the field. The way their offense was playing was almost polar opposite of how we were playing, just trying to generate chunks throughout the game. And once it gets down to the fourth quarter, normally the team that has been grinding it out a little bit longer, they come out on top. And that's where it was a little twisted in the game. We didn't necessarily finish it like we wanted to.
Phip was sort of explaining the coach's mindset, like how little time there is in season to appreciate, accomplishments at times, saying, he woke up in the middle of the night thinking about the block PAT, right? There's little things that sort of grind on him. I'm wondering if there's anything from that game similar that was grinding on you, and maybe even if not, just speak to that mindset of
Are you talking about the delay games? Yeah. Thanks, Dave. That's a nice way of saying it, right? No, I think.
That mindset of hey, whatever we accomplish, there'll be time to appreciate that later. I've got something else I got to take care of.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny because, like I said, what a big game, what a big win to seal the division like we did, and you still go to the locker room, and I'm over here still thinking about, man, I wanted to finish the game with the football. That's really want to seal it out that way, and so I'm kind of kicking myself. Like I said, the delay games, those are. The play callers got to get the play in faster, and the guys will make it right. That's the bottom line. I know Jared said it's everyone involved, but that's on me. I got to fix that, and I will going forward. But yeah, those things happen. But it is hard to win in this league, so I always keep that in the back of my head, even when things don't go exactly as planned, and particularly in this organization, this city, where it's been a long time coming to win a division. So. Very happy for that, but just like Coach said, we're not complacent. I mean, he made that loud and clear early this week that our focus is now shifting, and I think our guys are responding the right way.
Last game in Dallas was a really weird one for you guys. Fumble at the goal line, but one of the elements of that was losing Amon-Ra early to the protocol procedure. So I'm just curious, as a play caller, you think you have all the contingencies planned, but it's probably a really unique one to lose your number one pass threat very early in a game. So going back and looking at that game after we did, like, what did you learn as a play caller in terms of adjusting on the fly to a situation like that?
Yeah, I mean, guys always step up. I think it was TK. He was the one that ended up assuming a lot of the reps that Amon-Ra had, and I had a lot of confidence last year in TK. But it's funny you bring it up, because I was talking with Coach Campbell about this just the other day. Just our receiver room going into this game as opposed to last year is completely different. As a whole, I mean, our whole unit is different. We're a lot healthier right now than I believe we were at that time a year ago, and so. Feel really good about going into this game and who we have. In regards to your question, absolutely, you got to adjust when guys go down. That happens each and every week, but hopefully this week won't be the case.
With the receivers, I'm sorry, Ben. Gibbs Jones has not played a lot of snaps, but he's had some really big catches for you guys. Dan, when you guys acquired him, said he's that insurance piece you thought maybe you were missing. I mean, is that kind of what you're talking about there? You have that guy. And is he more ready for a bigger role if called upon?
Yeah, there's no question. He's very smart, just like we thought, and he's practicing really well. It's hard to who do we take off the field sometimes, and maybe we want to generate them in a certain personnel group, and so we're a little bit heavier and we have less receivers on the field. So there is a give and take, but the limited reps that he has had, he's risen to the occasion. And last week, it's a big 3rd and 8 conversion, and I think the Chicago week he had a big catch in that one as well. So he gets one for us each week that maybe we're not counting on going into the game, but they've been big in terms of the result.
Might be a bit of an obvious one, but how much does Micah Parsons kind of change the way you look at this game on Saturday night?
Oh yeah, he's a game wrecker for sure. I was just talking to the guys upstairs. They move him around so much, whether it's right side, left side, over either guard, over the center. He's just, every snap, he's almost in a different location. So it's hard to get a beat a little bit to account for where he's at. And then, okay, so where he is at, they have so many other dynamic guys up front that are fresh. I mean, I think that's the thing that Coach Quinn does such a nice job, is the rotation and keeping those guys going nonstop and relentless. Today's our 3rd down day, and you turn on their 3rd down tape, and it is just a party at the quarterback for 3rd and 5+. It's pretty special what they can accomplish with their pass rush. So Micah is a huge part of the issues that we are encountering here this week.
This offense for you guys, obviously your offense, is unique, it seems like, in the NFL, where you don't have one singular star. You got to stop this guy. You got to stop this guy. It's not all about the quarterback or the receiver. Is that, I'm sure that's advantages for a play caller. Is it challenges too when you have so many receivers, multiple running backs, to use them all?
Yeah, I think that's something we do every week, is we try to make sure whoever's active on game day, there are plays in for each and every guy. We whether they get called, that's a different story, and whether the defense gives us the favorable coverage, that's a different story as well. But these guys are all involved. A lot of guys will ask to do some dirty work, and we want to reward them with some. In the run game, they're doing some dirty work, and we want to reward them with some targets in the passing game because of it. And so, there is a little give or take, but I do feel that when a play is needed, or if we're stalling out, there are certain guys we gravitate to. Hey, we got to get it into so-and-so's hands or so-and-so's hands, just to get a little spark and a little juice to get us going back on the right track.
The obvious names, I'm thinking in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of guys, but yeah, the guys that probably touch the ball the most: St. Brown, Gibby, Monty, Laporta is certainly making a case to be there as well.
Was David dealing with anything, or why did David not play much in that 3rd quarter, not get much touch? It's just game script?
It was really kind of just how it went. I really don't have a great reason for you, Dave, to be honest with you. We're kind of moving along and talking with Coach Montgomery. He's like, hey, this is going to be Gibby series. This is going to be Gibby series. And that's kind of how we came out of I don't know if the reps were skewed in the first half to where we just wanted to even it up there in the second half. A short week, so we didn't really revisit that in depth here early this week.
I have a Gibbs question for you. I mean, we've seen it. He's so incredibly electric every time the ball gets in his hands. Like, you're almost expecting a big play now. I don't think we've seen that in the past game as much as maybe we anticipated, just the way you really worked that and grinded that through the offseason. It's not for a lack of effort, you're getting him plenty of targets. Just is there something that you're finding that's not unlocking him in space the same way in the past game that you are on the ground?
Each week's been a little bit different challenge. I knew last week that it would be a little harder against Minnesota. They bring so much pressure that our backs were going to have to be a big part of our pass protection plan. Yeah, I would say just each week, each team is adding a different layer of how can they make it challenging to get him the ball in the passing game. Some weeks are easier than others. Leave it at that.
Does Gibbs equipped to do the 4-minute offense too? I mean, that was David, obviously. You know, he came back in and handled that for you, but you had so much success. Like, you just ride the hot hand and give Gibbs those carries.
In the 4-minute? Oh shoot! I thought David did a great job too in the 4 minutes. So truthfully, I don't second guess having David in there at all. 4 minute was going about like we had hoped, and then the 2nd and 7 became a 2nd and 12, and then threw me off just a little bit. I'm thinking 3rd down next, and now I'm 2nd, and so delay of game followed, and it spiraled out of control. And so. Great learning opportunity, but I don't think the back in the game necessarily had anything to do with us not finishing the game.
What do you got on the field for Panay's mindset when he goes up against premier pass rushers like Micah Parsons here?
Yeah, I think he's the same guy every day. So I'm sure he relishes this challenge, as does Dak on the other side, because like I said, Micah is gonna line up all over the place. But yeah, he certainly loves this type of matchup because it allows him to showcase what he's capable of.
Thank you.
Thank you.